Hi friends, welcome back to Sanjeev Kapoor Khazana. This is Shailaja and my recipe today is an easy fuss-free dessert. I'm going to show you how to make an apple crumble. Now apples are so easily available and it is a fruit that's available through the whole year. It's easy to put together, especially when you pressed for time and you want to make something up really easy. So let's take a look at some of the ingredients that we're going to use for the apple crumble. Apples, all-purpose flour, oats, butter, powdered cinnamon, brown sugar, white sugar, vanilla essence. Okay, so I'm going to use 3 of these apples. Now typically you would probably want to use cooking apples because they tend to retain the form when you stew them or when you cook them. However, regular eating apples work just as well. So what we're going to do now is I just want to slice the apple here. Some recipes call for even using, if you find tinned apples, you could use those as well, but however nothing like using good fresh apples, and these are just so easily available through the year. So what you want to do is just remove the skin and make sure you remove any seeds from the center, and I'm just going to cut these up roughly into small squares. Now make sure you don't cut them too small, because what's going to happen is they cook really fast and then they tend to become really extra soft. So you do want the apple to have a slight bite to it as well. So we have our chopped and diced apples. So what we do want to do now is stew these apples a little bit. So what you want to do is soften them. So I've got a pan that's heating here. I'm just going to go right ahead and add the apples to the pan, and we're just going to sprinkle a little bit of the white sugar and cinnamon powder as well, and I'm just going to cover this with a little bit of water, not too much, and we'll just let this simmer now for a little while. So while we've got the apples stewing, I'm going to show you how we can go ahead and make the outer crust for our crumble. So I've got all-purpose flour and I've got some rolled oats. The oats actually lend a wonderful crunch to the crumble, and for the crumble I'm using some brown sugar. So you just want to mix this up well, and now I'm going to add the butter to it. And what will help is if you want to use a fork to gently mix in the butter. The consistency you're actually looking at is you want it to resemble that of crumbs. So it's got to be a crumbly texture. I'm just going right ahead and using my hands. That works best actually. So I'm just going to mix this up, and the apples are still stewing, so we'll just get this crumble ready. And you can add in some of the vanilla in here as well. And I'm just going to add a dash more of the cinnamon powder to this. I do have some already in the apples, but just a little bit more for flavor into the crumble. So this is looking good and it has a nice even texture. So we'll just keep this aside. Okay, so the apples have now been stewing for about 8 or 9 minutes, and if you can see, they seem cooked and tender, yet they've retained the form. So I wouldn't really cook them any further, otherwise they're just going to get mushy. So I'm going to go right ahead and turn our heat off, and there is still a bit of liquid in this, so I'm just going to go ahead and drain this off. Okay, and now of course we come to the best part of it. How do we layer the crumble? So I've got the apples, which I'm just going to place them at the base of our baking dish here, And these will cook further when we put them into the oven as well. So if you feel that they're not too tender, don't worry too much about them, because they will cook further once when we bake them. And I'm going to go right ahead and put this all over. What you are looking for is a nice thick layer of the crumbs, because it will give it a wonderful texture once this apple crumble is ready. Okay, this looks fairly well, and you could just even this out a little bit and press it down, and that seems nice and ready. So I have my oven, which I have preheated to about 180 Celsius, and I'm going to put this right in, and this would bake for at least say about 30 minutes, and we'll show you how it looks when it comes out of the oven. This just came out of the oven, a wonderful and delicious apple crumble, and it's looking beautifully browned from on top, and it's smelling great with all that cinnamon that just went into it. If I were you, I would serve this warm apple crumble with a nice dollop of ice cream, and that's just going to be about the most perfect dessert you can have today. I do hope you're going to try this out, and thanks for watching.
Do subscribe to our channel on YouTube if you like our videos. Stay connected. Happy cooking!